I'm Will Noonan, and you're listening to Tom Clark's Main Event.
This is Daddy Show. Step off.
Hey, what is up? Welcome to the program. Thank you for tuning in. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Tom Clark, and you are listening to Tom Clark's Main Event. This is episode number 13 of the podcast. Look out, a baker's dozen, folks. For all of you out there who have tuned in from day one and followed the podcast, not only there, but followed me online, followed my work on the various different websites I contribute to, I will extend to you the customary laurel and a hearty handshake. Thank you, as always, for your support. If this is your first time with me, welcome aboard. Thank you for joining me. Hope you have fun today. I'm pretty sure I will. So either way, we're good. A quick rundown, as we always do here on the program, folks. To let you know a bit about me, in case you don't know, I'm a WWE featured columnist for BleacherReport.com. I also contribute to the highly esteemed Camel Clutch blog, as well as WhatCulture.com. And now I have started my own blog. That's right, folks. I don't do enough as it is, and it turns out I sleep too much, apparently, which is not much at all. So I needed more to do. So yes, I've started my own blog. I've had several people over the years ask me, why aren't you doing your own thing? And my answer has always been, because I'm lazy, if I'm being honest. I would much rather contribute to someone else, let them have the headache of running and maintaining the site and fielding questions and handling all the technical side of it, because I'm much too busy. But you know what? I thought, why not? Why not just do this? So I have. I started it, depending on when you're listening to this, it started in January 2015. And to this point, I'm updating it fairly regularly, at least once a day, if not once every couple of days. Right now, I do not have a domain name. In other words, that's a nice way to say I've not yet purchased one, because not only am I lazy, I'm cheap. So right now, you can find me on tomclarkbr.wix.com/blog. You need me to say that again? You don't. Just hit the little back button on your phone there. You'll be good. Okay, folks. No more of the rigmarole. No more of the introductions. Let's get the pleasantries out of the way. We've done that. Let's move on. Let's get to the core of the program. This time, the main event is the Daniel Bryan debacle. Unless you've been living under a rock for the past month, you know exactly what I'm talking about. This has got to be very early on in 2015. This has got to be the story of the year thus far for WWE. As wrestling fans everywhere knows the Royal Rumble took place on Sunday, January 25th. It was one of the more controversial Royal Rumbles that we have ever seen. It was full of oh wow moments. It was full of drama and intrigue, and yes, a truckload of controversy. Controversy abounds in WWE, as it always does, but the Royal Rumble was the best example of that. If you have the network and you've not watched the Rumble yet for some odd reason, don't waste your time. It was terrible. No, I'm kidding. I'm not going to say that. I'm not one of those guys that says don't do this or do that or whatever. My thing has always been just watch it and take from it what you will. Use your own best judgment and tell me what you think after you're done. Because I'm going to expound here on the program today about, what my feelings are on the whole thing. But really, at the end of the day, what it matters is the general opinion of the majority of fans. And right now, the consensus amongst fans is the Royal Rumble was how can I put this nicely? Not good. As we said, a lot of controversy, not only about who won, and that man that won the Rumble, of course, is Roman Reigns, who will soon cash in his ticket to main event WrestleMania 31 for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. But just as a sidebar here, isn't it funny how we automatically just assume he's going to be there? How the commentators, well, if you win the Rumble, well, there you go. It's never said with an asterisk. It's never said with the caveat that, oh, well, as long as Brock doesn't lose the title before WrestleMania. It's always said, it's a guaranteed title shot against the champion. But of course, Brock and Roman have had their face-to-face on the January 26th edition of Monday Night Raw. That came off pretty well. If you want to know what my real feelings are on all that, please check me out, tomclarkbr.wix.com/blog. You can look me up on Bleacher Report, What Culture, anywhere you like, and I've been writing pretty much nonstop for 4 straight days about the whole thing. Roman's been a huge topic of conversation for yours truly, as he has been every other pro wrestling writer and analyst and fan on the planet. Okay, he's big news right now. Everyone's got an opinion. Everyone's got something to say. Everyone's got their own 2 cents worth to throw in, and yes, I'm guilty as well. But today is not just about Roman. Today's about your boy, Daniel Bryan, the yes man himself. Let's just say this before we get started. As I continue to plug away, because I'm a shameless self-promoter, this time the main event is directly linked to the column I recently posted on my own blog. Again, if you don't know, tomclarkbr.wix.com/blog. And it is the entitled column, The Daniel Bryan Debacle. That's what this podcast is all about here, folks. So without any further ado, let's get down to it. As we all know, Daniel Bryan went into the Royal Rumble with much anticipation from fans. A lot of people out there wanted to see Daniel win. A lot of people that wanted to see Daniel in the Rumble last year, and WWE did not deliver that, wanted to see Daniel not only in the Rumble this year, but to win the whole thing. They wanted to see the repeat of WrestleMania 30, in which Daniel came in, won the championship, had his WrestleMania moment, and ascended the ladder to the top of the company to become the next big thing. He was never more over than he was from 2013 going into 2014. And can you believe it's been a year, by the way? Holy cow. That Bryan came up the hard way, of course, came up from nothing, battled the Authority, managed to overcome Orton, Batista, and Triple H in the same night to capture the WWE World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania 30. What a huge night for him. Biggest night of his career, in my estimation. I'm sure everyone else would agree with that also. And what a feel-good story it was, because as Bryan often likes to point out, and he gives credit to the fans, this is not one of those things where that's a work, where he's just saying those things because it's cute to say, because he's a baby face. That's not why he's saying those things, okay? He's saying those things because they're legit. Bryan, I would dare say, would never been given an opportunity. When Punk left in 2014, the door was wide open for Bryan to jump back to the title picture. But let's be honest, if he wasn't over, they never would have put him in that spot. Fans wanted Bryan in that spot, and when they saw that he was getting there, they responded in kind. They blew the roof off the building every time he was in it, okay? Because people love Daniel Bryan. I don't know what more we have to say to WWE. How many more times Vince McMahon needs to hear the chants? How many more times that company needs to see that Daniel Bryan means a lot to a lot of people? This is no work here, folks. This is no BS. This is the truth. Bryan is he's a very big deal to a lot of folks out there, and he should be. Bryan, in my estimation, is the best blue collar pro wrestler in what I refer to as blue collar pro wrestler in WWE today. He's the hardest worker in my estimation. People like to point to Dolph. I love Dolph Ziggler. I do. I appreciate what he does in the ring. I think he's very good at what he does. People talk about how much he sells. Can I be straight with you? I think sometimes he sells more than he has to, but that all goes back to what kind of respect is he getting in the ring, not necessarily from the guy he's working, but from the company at large. And we all know that Dolph Ziggler is never going to be in that top spot. Not that he couldn't do it, but we're talking about WWE here, who you can't trust with Dolph to save their life. They just will not put him in that prime spot. They'll tease him with it. They'll tease you with it. He's never going to be there. Okay? Doesn't make me happy to say that. And it's no disrespect intended to Dolph. I like the guy. Personally, I do. And I think he's an asset to that company. At the same time, this same company doesn't think that Daniel Bryan is the top guy. So how in the world would a guy named Dolph Ziggler ever get in that spot if Daniel Bryan could not get there himself? So let's get right in here to it. Let's not hold back anymore. The controversy surrounding Daniel Bryan's early elimination in WWE's Royal Rumble continues to make headlines, and that is the understatement of the decade so far. What began as just disappointment among fans is now reaching full-blown riot status as the masses are gathering for perhaps the biggest boycott of all time. The pitchforks are being sharpened and the torches are being lit. Okay, none of that last bit is true, but it's all beginning to get very interesting. And as we all know, folks, this goes back to the recent story online. And if you haven't heard this or read it, please take 5 minutes out of your day to go to the dirt sheets and educate yourself because, buddy, they know everything. That's sarcasm. The recent story online claiming WWE has no intention of booking Daniel in the main event of WrestleMania 31. Supposedly, Vince McMahon does not want to mimic last year's Mania. So for now, it seems that the Yes Man will be used against Dolph Ziggler, there's your boy Dolph again, instead. And that match presumably will happen at WrestleMania 31. Now, dirt sheets. Let's talk for a minute about dirt sheets. You say, but Tom, dude, you contribute to websites all the time. Very true. You're right about that. I do contribute to pro wrestling websites. I don't contribute to dirt sheets. Now, here's the thing about it. To those guys out there who run dirt sheets, but they are honestly trying to make it as legitimate as possible, they really are doing their homework. They're researching. They're following up leads. They're not just copying and pasting. I say, well, have fun. No disrespect intent. If anybody out there is listening, you run a dirt sheet of your own, that's great. I like to look at the headlines of the day. But to me, the greatest thing about pro wrestling, from the time I started watching when I was like 3 years old till now, has always been the surprise factor. There's not a lot of surprise left in pro wrestling anymore, thanks to Vince McMahon, thanks to WWE, who've taken a lot of the fun out of it by, pretty much telegraphing everything that happens. You can see the end coming a mile away. Royal Rumble was different in a lot of regards because there was twists and turns. I like twists and turns. I don't misunderstand me here. But when I can sit back and can predict what's going to happen move for move, match for match, which I can do, and it's people look at that and say, "Oh, you're you think you know everything." That's not it. Can I be honest with you? I hate that most of the time. I hate that I'm like that. I wish I could just watch the show to enjoy it, and I do attempt to do that. By the way, if you know anything about me, that was probably the first time I've ever mentioned the word show. When I was in the business, I was taught from day one, it's not the show. That's what the fans call it. You know what I mean? So very early on, it was like, okay, these are their terms, these are our terms. And I was like, okay, dude, that's cool. You know what I mean? I like learning this stuff, but some guys take that stuff way too seriously. And that's fine, but anyway, as it comes to dirt sheets, again, if you're doing the legwork, if you're doing the work, if you're putting in the time and the effort and not just copying and pasting, then good for you, okay? Much success with it. But I don't care for spoilers. I don't care for knowing who's going to be in the Rumble 10 minutes before they're there. I don't care to know who's backstage. I like to just watch. So I won't even look at dirt sheets the day of Raw. I won't even look the day of the pay-per-view. I just like to watch the program and get something out of it and just enjoy it for what it is. I like the surprise factor of pro wrestling. Dirt sheets ruin that for me. And dirt sheets tend to be condescending and tend to be very arrogant, and depending on who's writing the stuff. And again, you read a dirt sheet today, you read it 3 days ago on 3 different websites because they're just copying and pasting and changing a few words. And I don't care for that. As a writer who, I'm held to task on my work. I'm not allowed to, to take one column and put it on another website. That's not something I do. I'm not allowed to do it anyway, and I wouldn't do it. Everything I contribute to each website is 100% unique and to that site. It may be the same topic, but I'll try to take a little bit different stance, a little bit different opinion, and try to present it a little bit different way. So I don't care for anyone that plagiarizes, of course. That's a big no-no in our field. And I don't care for anyone that copies and pastes. You're wasting my time. So, yes, I do contribute to websites. I do contribute to blogs. There is a big difference, okay? Now that we have all that out of the way, sorry about that. But, again, if going back to what we're here for today is the subject of Daniel Bryan. And a lot of the dirt sheets, yes, I said dirt sheets, are reporting reporting, take it for what it's worth. Sorry to keep coming down on that. I just, sometimes I have to soapbox a little bit. You know me, right? It's just how I am. But supposedly Vince McMahon, again, wants nothing to do with seeing Daniel Bryan the main event at WrestleMania. Now, how do you feel about that? Because I've had several conversations in the past week, and I've actually heard some opinions of guys who are actually, they're fine with that, if I can be straight with you. They're okay with it, because their thing is, listen, Daniel had his time. He had a great spot. It was, a lot of guys go into this business and work for that company or don't make it to that company and all. They never have that moment. That moment those guys would kill for. I was in the business around guys who were just dying to get to WWE. They just couldn't wait to get up north. They were working hard, doing the best they could to get there. They dreamed of that moment. If you're a pro wrestler and you have aspirations of working for Vince McMahon one day, you have dreams of headlining WrestleMania. Don't let anyone tell you any different. And if you know pro wrestlers on any level, if it's the indie level, if they're in the Legion Halls, the Armories, and they're just weekend warriors, you know what I'm saying? They're just part-timers. They're just doing it to have fun. They don't have any aspirations or dreams of going to the big time or think they could even get there. They don't have the body or they're too old or whatever. Even those guys, at their core, want to headline WrestleMania. Okay, it's a dream of anyone in the business, man, that they want to be there one day in some capacity. So Daniel lived his dream. Daniel got what a lot of guys will never get. Okay, he got it. Why should he get 2 in a row? Now, I'm not against that. I see where people are coming from. I do. And I understand the argument against it. I understand if it's true, where Vince is coming from. Why would he want to duplicate the same main event from one WrestleMania to another? Oh, I don't know, because you did it with The Rock and John Cena? Has anyone thought about that? We've all just forgotten The Rock versus Cena once in a lifetime. This is it. You got to see it. There you go. Guess what? It's The Rock versus John Cena once in a lifetime. Again. I mean, really? So we're going to begrudge Daniel Bryan a second WrestleMania main event spot when we're completely going to ignore John Cena versus The Rock. 2 consecutive WrestleManias. We're just going to completely forget that. Okay, so you're saying to me right now, Tom, I get what you're saying, bro, but The Rock and John are 2 different things. They're huge drawing cards. They're top guys. Okay. But tell me where it says Daniel Bryan couldn't be that. Tell me where it says Daniel Bryan. Let me ask you this. And I mentioned earlier that I consider Daniel Bryan to be the best blue collar worker in that company right now, and I mean that not only because he's very good in the ring. He's a mechanic. He's very meat and potatoes in terms of, he gives you the full match. You know what I'm saying? He's a hard worker. There's not a lot of flash with Daniel. There's not a lot of he's gonna flex. He's gonna show off. No, he doesn't do any of that stuff. He's just a flat out good pro wrestler, excellent pro wrestler. That's what I view Daniel as, okay? Blue collar guy also in terms of his gimmick, in terms of who he is, because you see Daniel in a flannel shirt, that's him. The beard looks like a lumberjack, that's him, that's Daniel, that's just who he is, you know what I mean? Let me ask you this, and I've written this before through the years about several other guys, and most notably about Dusty Rhodes, and CM Punk, to go to the modern era. When you look around you, and say you're out somewhere right now, you're listening to yours truly on the podcast on your phone. And by the way, thank you. Thank you. How's that hearty handshake going for you? I appreciate it. Anyway, say you're listening to me right now. Take a look around you for a second. And who's around you? Who's around you? Do you see a bunch of guys look like John Cena? Got their ball hats on. They're all jacked up. They shave their chest, crew cut, you know what I mean? And they've got their baggy camo shorts on. Or do you see a bunch of guys with beards walking around? Flannel shirts. Hair messed up. Looking like a bunch of normal guys. You know what I'm saying? What are you seeing? Because that is what gets over. People at their core. There's 2 different kinds of wrestling fans in my estimation. Maybe they're the one and the same, depending on who you are, where you throw down on this at. But to me, there's 2 different kinds of fans. There's one that wants to see the superhero aspect, the grandstanding, the showtime, the John Cena, the Hulk Hogan ripping his shirt, the Ultimate Warrior shaking the ropes. You know what I mean? And all that stuff, the showbiz aspect, the Sting with the multicolored tights and screaming at the top of his lungs, and all that stuff's great, and it's showbiz and sparks and pyro and yeehaw, it's fun, and circus, P.T. Barnum, the whole 9. Then there's the other wrestling fans that say, how about just shut up and wrestle, okay? Just shut up and wrestle. I came to see the matches. I don't care for all that crap. Just give me a wrestling match, for God's sake. That's your Daniel Bryan fans. That's your blue collar guys. That's the guys that have worked 12 hours and they came home to see Monday Night Raw, or they're going to watch the pay-per-view. They're shelling out their $9.99 a month for WWE Network that they really can't afford, but they love the business and their family loves it and they want to watch it or whatever. They maybe can't afford to go to a live events, but they're going to shell out what they can on merch for Christmas presents for their kids and whatnot. Working class families, man, they're shopping with calculators. You know what I'm saying? Not a lot of extra income, disposable income to go around, but when they can, they watch and they buy tickets to see the shows if they can afford them. Okay, who's your hero? Is it John or is it Daniel Bryan? Daniel Bryan looks like he stepped out of the crowd, got in the ring, and tore the house down. CM Punk looked like he stepped out of the crowd, got in the ring, tore the house down. Dusty Rhodes, let's say it again, looked like he stepped out of the crowd, got into the ring, tore the house down. You see a pattern here? Stone Cold Steve Austin looked like he got out of the crowd, stepped to the ring, tore the house down. How long can we keep going here, folks? The top guys in the history of this business. And Hogan is, you point to Hogan and Cena, fine, point to him all day long. But I'm talking about these guys that weren't really necessarily handed anything. Here you go. Here you go. Welcome to WWE. Here you go. Here you go. Kurt Angle. Mad respect for Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle didn't come up through the territories. Kurt Angle didn't come up through the independent circuit. Kurt Angle was signed. Here you go. Here you go. Brock Lesnar. Much respect to Brock Lesnar. Number one, I don't want to go through an F5. And I don't, Brock scares the crap out of me. I'm not going to lie. I mean, let's be honest, man. The guy's tough. He's bad, dude. You know what I'm saying? Everybody out there just pitching a fit about him and calling him this, that, and the other. Brock's a bad dude, all right? Bottom line. I mean, he scares the crap out of me. If he doesn't scare the crap out of you, something's wrong with you, all right? But imagine him being ticked off at you and staring you down the way he stares down the promo. Jeez Louise. But anyway, no disrespect intended. But for me, in my opinion, this is just me talking, man. Bryan came up the hard way. Punk came up the hard way. Dusty earned his stripes. Austin earned his stripes, And people talk about paying dues. Well, what's it even mean to pay dues these days, Tom? Because the number one company in the world gets their talent from independent promotions now. I mean, and they're not even territories anymore. The NWA still exists, but it's not what it was. And, TNA's out there and they're still attempting to build their audience and they're doing what they're doing. And, but let's face it, a lot of folks will never even see them as being number two. Okay. They're like a distant 2.5. Well, let's be straight. I mean, and there's other companies out there, but it's not like it was. So, I mean, you look at a guy like Seth Rollins, like Dean Ambrose, who've earned their way up. Roman Reigns, not so much. So, for me, the blue-collar guys, the meat and potatoes guys, the guys that came up the hard way, the guys that came up earning their stripes, they're in it because they love the business, because they love to perform. And you know what? Before the words perform and entertain even enter their vernacular, thanks to Vince McMahon, they love to wrestle. Remember that word, wrestling? It's a bad word now, but not to me. Not to a lot of us, okay? They love to wrestle. That's Daniel. He's a blue-collar guy. See what I'm saying? And who doesn't want to see that success story? We saw it, WrestleMania 30, the culmination of a life's work in the business of pro wrestling was Daniel Bryan making it to the main event of WrestleMania 30, beating all three members of Evolution on the same night, including the head honcho Triple H himself, and winning the championship belt. I mean, that's a big deal, man. And we don't want to see that again. Really? And again, I see people saying that, well, Daniel had his moment. Let someone else have a shot. I'm okay with that. I mean, honestly, I genuinely am. But I expected more of that company for Daniel. I expected a lot more for Daniel. Now, depending on when you're listening to this, when this thing gets published, hopefully soon, coming up on Monday Night Raw, it was announced on SmackDown by Triple H. Actually, it's going to be on the February 2nd edition of Monday Night Raw, where Triple H is going to have what he considers to be an earth-shaking announcement for WWE. I don't know what that means exactly. Maybe the announcement is going to be Stephanie's going to appear on TV and never talk again. That would be truly awesome if you could just stand there and look pretty and not never say a word ever again. No offense. But that's probably not going to be it. But some kind of big announcement. Could this big announcement involve Daniel Bryan? Absolutely. So by the time you hear this, maybe something's changed. I have no idea. But I'll tell you right now, as far as it stands right now, I have no idea what they're doing with Daniel Bryan, okay? Because part of the dirt sheet stories that are floating around online right now is the fact that, supposedly, that WWE has never considered Daniel Bryan a top guy. Now, how much does that hurt? How much does that sting for you right now? There's people out there that have supported him from day one and watched him in Ring of Honor and when he was Bryan Danielson and had his back when WWE fired him over something silly like the choking incident with the Nexus, and you supported him when he came back and you chanted no just because it was fun, and you chanted yes because you liked him, and you could see him blossoming into this potential main event superstar. How upset are you right now that the company that makes it all possible is telling you you're wrong? You can't be that mad because they tell you that stuff all the time. What are you're born yesterday or what? You don't know how this works with WWE? They tell you all the time that you're wrong. WWE tells you what you want. Okay, used to be you told them what you want and they made it happen. Stone Cold Steve Austin, prime example. You wanted Austin, they made it happen. Okay, whatever happened to that? Whatever happened to the idea of you tell us what we want, we'll make it happen? Those days are long gone, baby. There you go, Brock Lesnar reference. It's the creepiest thing you ever heard in your life. Brock Lesnar saying the word baby. Ugh, gives me cold chills. But there again, no disrespect. I don't want to get put in the Kimura lock. So anyway, back to it. The whole thing is messed up. Okay, and that's what a highly intelligent way to put it. But can you put it a better way at this point? Do you have a better analysis other than that it's messed up? Because the whole thing is messed up. And there's a point to this. You are wasting, as a company, WWE, you are wasting, maybe wasting is a harsh word because I don't have anything personal against Roman, don't get me wrong here. But you're spending a lot of time attempting to get Roman over. You're going to spend a lot more, by the way, attempting to get Roman over. You're going to do everything in your power to get Roman Reigns over to the nth degree, okay? But while you're trying to do that, Bryan's already there. Get it? Bryan's already there. I mean, holy cow, man. Bryan's already there. But you're going to attempt to get Roman to that point. Now, rewind for a second. We talked about the possibility of Daniel Bryan versus Dolph Ziggler, which just sort of came from out of nowhere, but now it's a possibility it may actually happen, okay? Now, while there's likely not a fan alive that doesn't want to see Bryan take on Ziggler in what will surely be a technical masterpiece, can we all agree on that? The truth is that Daniel should have more. He should have a lot more. He should have the main event. I'm sorry, guys. And I respect both sides. For those of you out there shaking your heads at me and going, tisk, tisk, Tom, how dare you? I get where you're coming from. I do. Honest to God, I do. But you gotta see it from both ways, man, which is what I'm trying to do right now, okay? They have a bona fide star in Daniel Bryan. Here's the issue. The WrestleMania main event, as of right now, as of this recording, it's like it's not going to happen, okay? Evidently, WWE does not see Bryan as a top babyface anymore. And in fact, they may never have. Yes, it's shocking. Yes, it leaves you speechless. It did me when I read it because I thought, well, it's a dirt sheet, Tom. Calm down. You know how you feel about dirt sheets. But if there's any grain of truth to it whatsoever, I'm legit shocked by that. Because to me, in my opinion, I thought, and call this being naive perhaps, I don't know, but I thought that company was willing to entertain the idea of someone other than John Cena, of someone that didn't look like John Cena being the top guy. Punk had a great run in that company. He defied all odds and all expectations of what he could potentially achieve in that company, and he excelled, man. So I was under the impression, or under the hope anyway, at least, that WWE, that opened the eyes in WWE and made that company realize, well, maybe you don't need to look like a jacked up superhero to be the leader of this company. Wow, who would have thunk it? But no, evidently, if there's any truth to this story online, you do need to look like John Cena. You do need to have a ripped body. You do need to be a certain height. You do need to have a certain haircut. And you do need to be named John Cena. Ouch. Hurts, right? Burns me to the quick. Cuts me to the quick. Burns me to the core, man. It's tough to hear, man. It's tough to hear. Seriously. Why is it tough to hear? I got to be honest with you. I never saw this coming. Okay? I'm a firm believer. I'm one of those guys that says you never say never in pro wrestling. WWE likes to think they coined that term. Wrestling fans, you guys, where are my people at? You've been wrestling fans 20 plus years. You know where all that came from. That came from us. You never know what's going to happen. Never say never. Because over the years, everything you think you knew has been proven wrong. Long before anybody on WWE programming said it, we knew you can never say never in the business of professional wrestling because those guys, their jobs is to surprise you. Their jobs is to entertain you. Their jobs is to make you keep thinking and second guessing everything you're watching. Because why? They want you to tune back in the next week. That's the point, dude, is to watch the next week. That's the whole point. Keep you coming back for more. Why do Worldwide Wrestling for the National Wrestling Alliance Jim Crockett Promotions on Saturdays go off almost every week with David Crockett screaming at the top of his lungs, "We got to go!" And there's a Donnybrook in the ring, right? Everything's just breaking down, fisticuffs everywhere. I mean, it's 2 or 3 guys, and the show goes off the air. Why? Because they want to leave you wanting more. You can't wait to tune in the next week, or you can't wait to go to the matches at the high school gym or the fairgrounds, wherever it is that they're running during that time. You can't wait to go see it live. That's the point. Leave them wanting more. Raw doesn't go off the air enough like that, in my estimation. There's too many standoffs at the end of Raw. Oh, he's laying there, he's standing there, they're looking at each other, and he just said something and dropped the mic. Bah, who cares? In my estimation, you need to end Raw every time like that. Just leave fans wanting more. You got to go, what happened? Oh, I got to watch next week. And quit showing, by the way, just as a sidebar here, folks, WWE Network, anyone who's listening that gives a crap to do anything about it, please stop showing me what happens after Raw goes off there. I don't care, man. You're ruining it for me. Again, stop it. Just stop it. You want to read a dirt sheet and say, "I was in the crowd, this is what happened, Randy Orton came back out and I KO'd everybody." Whatever, dude. You know what? Have fun with it. Go with God. But don't show it to me. You see what I'm saying? Whatever happened, I can't wait to watch next week. We've ruined that. That company's ruined that, man. I don't need the behind the scenes 2 minutes after Raw goes off the air. I don't need it. You know what I'm saying? I don't even bother watching it. It's not worth my time. Just let me watch next week. The kid in me, who sat back and watched Jim Crockett Promotions for years, growing up here in the great state of North Kakalaki, all right? I love the way it went off because I just couldn't wait. Did it tick me off? It ticked me off. Let's be straight, because you get mad. You're like, man, I want to see what happened. But now that I look back on it, it kept me watching. Not only because I loved it, but because I just couldn't wait to see it again. I mean, Raw, though, sometimes the way Raw goes off, you're like, why would I watch again? It's so freaking boring. You know what I'm saying? The content, the pacing, it goes off the air and everyone's just sort of standing around and, nothing's really happening or whatever. I mean, dude, I don't want to see all that crap. You know what I mean? I want to be left breathless is how I want to be left off the program. And they don't do that too often for me. You know what I mean? But again, I don't need to see any of that. All right, so here we are, talking about the blue collar guy. Okay, and I know we're bouncing around here a little bit, folks, but just try to bear with me here. Again, never say never, as we said before. Never say never. Okay, so could WrestleMania 31 main event change? Yes. Could everything you've heard online be garbage? Yes. Could it be true? Absolutely. Who knows at this point? Here's the bottom line: Bryan is a star. He may not look or sound like the top guy archetype that WWE has become accustomed to, but every time the guy gets in the ring, the fans respond. Yes? Anyone out there think that's wrong or that's incorrect? Anyone? No, none of you think that, because you can't. It's because it's the truth. He is easily the most popular superstar in the company, and he has been since 2013. Show me someone else even better. I defy you. Show me someone better. You can't do it, man. He has heart. He has drive. He has that connection, that connection we talked about to fans. It's just so important. We've referenced it here on the program so many times. You have to have that connection to fans. He has that to the crowds that very few people can get, very few guys can ever get. I mean, there's a big difference between coming out and being hated or being loved and then getting nothing at all. Ask any pro wrestler what the death sentence is for him in his career is if he comes out and no one cares. I'm not even talking about, oh, boo, you suck. No, there's none of that. They just don't care. The worst thing could ever happen. If you're babyface and they hate you, well, evidently you've done something wrong. But you know what? At least you get a reaction. If you're a heel and they love you, you probably didn't heel out enough. But you know what? At least you're getting something. But when you come out and it's silence or they don't care, that's the worst. That's a death knell. They will never have to worry about that with Daniel Bryan, man. He has that connection 100%. Okay? And we talked about Austin and all these guys before. There's a reason why Bryan's rise was compared to that of Stone Cold Steve Austin and CM Punk. Okay, Bryan just has the same spark. That spark. That ever important link. Okay, when people see you, man, they just cannot get enough of you. Daniel has that. Okay, he's not the usual top star. Because he's not Hollywood. He's not John Cena. Okay? He's not Hulk Hogan. He's not Hollywood. Daniel is himself. He got there through hard work and effort and made it the tough way. Now, for all you John Cena haters out there, please, no threatening emails or middle fingers or shaking your fists at me. Let's just don't go that route. No one's saying that John didn't work hard to get to where he's at, but it's not what we're talking about. It's not the same sort of background, the same sort of, coming up through the system, paying your dues and all that kind of stuff. Is John Cena the hardest working guy in that company? Okay, I'll bite on that if you want to say that. He's got a lot of responsibility. He does a tremendous amount of work for that company inside the ring. I mean, it is what it is. I'm not going to get to debate all that stuff with you right now, but what I'm talking about is where you come from, your long road to get to that company. I mean, everything that you took, every bump you took along the way, every time you took a chair to the head, every time you juiced in the ring, every time that you went through a table, all the stuff that you went through to get to work to Vince McMahon for the first place. I mean, that's Daniel Bryan, man. Okay, he's come up that road, and that's why he has the respect that he has from so much of the WWE faithful right now. Is because of that. I mean, it's such a big deal for a lot of people that you come up the hard way. You come up proving yourself, which is exactly what Bryan has done, and hence that's where the spark comes from. That's what people they just love that. Do you know what I mean? And people respond to that. Absolutely respond to that. And as we said, WrestleMania 30 was the culmination of a life's work, a life's work of just getting to that point, of being noticed, of having the opportunity to shine, having the opportunity to come in and do something great and to establish yourself and be somebody in that company, the biggest pro wrestling company on the planet. That's what WWE is. They always will be. So, I mean, Daniel made that. And top quality matches, fan support that began when he was back on the inner circuit, like we said, Ring of Honor, everywhere else in between. Bryan may have been the unlikeliest main event star that WWE has ever seen, but he was perhaps the most deserving as well. Who besides Bryan, in your estimation, I'm going to throw this out there too, you can debate, discuss, question me, it's fine. Who else besides Bryan was the unlikeliest main event star WWE has ever seen? I got 2 words for you. Mick Foley. I mean, honestly, did anyone ever see Cactus, main eventing at WrestleMania? Did anyone ever see Cactus coming into that company and winning the WWE Championship? Are you kidding me? Nah, never, man. Never. No one ever saw it. A lot of people didn't see it, and it's not because they disliked him, but you look at Cactus and he's not what they wanted. Do you know what I'm saying? CM Punk, he's not what they want. Daniel Bryan, they don't want him. But what happened? They came in, they had a hook, they had a connection to the crowd. The crowd couldn't get enough of them. People respect Bryan. It all comes down to respect with Daniel Bryan. It's not so much about showmanship or, the like pyro and show business and all that stuff. It's about people feel connected to Bryan. It's a really big deal. You know what I'm saying? It's a big thing. And for them to put Bryan in a situation where maybe he looks a little silly, he gets eliminated early in the Rumble. I mean, come on, man. Are we seriously going to go that route right now? He couldn't stay in any longer than he did. And that hence is the root of what I call the Daniel Bryan debacle, okay? Is that idea that, that Bryan's done all this work. He's done everything asked of him. He's got over when he probably should had no business getting over. He's done everything asked of him. He's gotten there the hard way. He's worked himself to death to be who he is and what he is now, and done all the right things. Okay, and broke the mold. And what's he get for it? Well, not only you're not going to get the main event, we don't really want you to even be anywhere near it. Okay, excuse me, what? So the whole thing, to me, centers around the fact that they are building and working on Roman and attempting to get him to that point. They've already got a guy ready, and it's Daniel. Does that make sense to you? That's the most frustrating part of this whole deal, man. That's the conundrum that we're faced with as pro wrestling fans at this point, because people talk about, they want to get Roman ready and this, that, and the other. Daniel's ready right now. He doesn't need any more work. He doesn't need any more, he need to work on his mic time. Dan doesn't need that stuff. He's ready, man. Give me the ball, let me run with it. Any pro wrestler worth his salt will tell you, give me the ball, let me run with it. Okay? Don't worry about that dude in the corner. Worry about me. I'm your guy. Punk was one of the only guys in the modern era to have guts enough to say that out loud. Don't worry about this other guys. I'm your guy. I'm your man. That's me, okay? And for anyone to look at Daniel and say that he's not earned it, that he doesn't deserve another main event at WrestleMania, are you kidding me right now? I mean, think about this. Even after Bryan's return from surgery, he constantly gets the biggest pop of anyone in the WWE locker room. I defy you to show me someone that gets a bigger pop than Daniel. Seriously, right now. The fact is that fans still want Daniel Bryan. They want him on the top level. The Royal Rumble is proof positive of this. How do we know? How do you know? Because Bryan's exit was met with a shocked chorus of boos. Shocked, man. And hate. Flat out hate that lasted throughout the rest of the match. Roman Reigns paid the price for WWE's indiscretion. And now the company is faced with a budding top guy that no one wants. Who did it to them? Did Roman do something wrong? No. Did Bryan do something wrong? No. Who did something wrong? The company did. Roman Reigns is behind the 8 ball. Want to know why? WWE put him there. Daniel didn't have anything to do with that. Roman didn't have anything to do with that. They put him there. Now, Roman has to make the best of a rough situation. Now, don't cry for Roman. He's working on the largest pro wrestling company on the planet. He's next in line for the championship. Don't feel too bad for Roman, okay? Because he's going to be okay. But what you can look at and be frustrated about is the fact that WWE put him in a situation where now he's got to beg, borrow, and steal for every cheer he gets, okay? For every time someone applauds his efforts, he's going to have to work twice as hard as Daniel ever did to get that. And Daniel had to work really hard, man, to be considered a main event player. Roman's have to do double the work. He have to. He don't have a choice now, man. He doesn't have a choice. Why? Because WWE put him in that spot. Bottom line. And considering all that, considering the fact that Daniel's ready right now, ask yourself this, why wouldn't WWE correct the problem? Why shouldn't Bryan once again be in the main event of WWE's most important night of the year? I'm dead serious. Why shouldn't it happen? And this is where the controversy comes in. As we said, Daniel Bryan's ready. WWE has a certified main event player, battle-tested, battle-hardened, got experience now, okay? WWE champion kind of experience, okay? Certified main event player on the roster. A guy that came from the bottom up, had the feel-good story, rise up from the bottom to achieve his dreams, the same story that Shawn Michaels had, that Mick Foley had. You know, he did it. Bryan did it, okay? Came from the bottom up and emerged as the people's favorite. When we talk about the people's champ, The Rock called himself the people's champ. Bryan is the people's champ. That's the difference. Daniel doesn't have to come out and raise his eyebrow. He has to come out and smile. He's over. No disrespect to Rock. Stop trying to make heat between me and these guys, man. I'm good with these guys. They love me. I mean, the ones that know me, well, maybe they don't love me. They're quite fond of me. The point is that Bryan doesn't have to do much to get over, man. People love Bryan. They do. He doesn't have to do very much, okay? Because he's the guy. He's what they want. He is who they want, okay? Daniel Bryan weathered the storm of weak booking and gained the crowd's support by just being himself with the volume turned way up. As any great superstar that's ever walked into that company or walked out a champion can tell you, who am I? My gimmick, it's just me with the volume turned way up. Austin, Hogan, Savage, Jake Roberts. That's who I am, but it's a lot louder. You see what I'm saying? That's Bryan. That's Bryan, baby. You can't tell me different. He is the guy that got there through all that hard work, all that determination, never giving up. Had a whole world of people telling him he'll never make it. All that stuff's true, man. All that stuff's said a lot because it's a romantic notion that you've got the whole world telling you no, but you made it anyway. I mean, that's Rudy. You know what I'm saying? Everyone loves that movie. I mean, I still tear up watching Rudy. When he gets the letter saying he's on the team, oh my God in heaven. That's some powerful stuff, man. Don't tell me that's not powerful, man. It is, all right? So that feeling that, that everyone told you no, but somehow you made it happen. That's what being a WWE superstar is, man. That's what going to the top of that company is all about. I mean, the guys know it too. You know what I'm saying? It's not just the fans. It's not just the company that puts forth that notion. It's not just the fans that buy into it. It's the guys that know it too. I mean, it's all part of the deal, man. That you work your way up, you bust your hump to get to your spot, and you finally earn your spot, and you get to that main event match at WrestleMania. I mean, that's a big deal, man. Man, it's not something everybody can say. You know what I mean? Not everybody can say that, but Daniel can say it. Not only did he get there, he excelled, and he made one of the best WrestleMania moments that we've, in my opinion, that we've seen in a lot of years happen for Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania 30. But here's the thing. No one, it's not going to happen again, at least not now, because unfortunately that company is moving on with Roman. And, God, I say that. No disrespect intended to Roman. I don't mean it like that. I'm saying, and unfortunately for Daniel, for a situation, the fact that he's so over, the fact that fans love him so much, but it's not going to happen now, okay? They seem content with staying the course with Roman. Okay, they found their new guy, and from this point on, every effort's going to be made to get him over and convince every fan watching that he's worth their support. But while all that is happening, as we said, Daniel Bryan's ready. He's there, and he is over to the moon, and he doesn't have to try very hard at all. That's the thing. Isn't that something? Okay, you're trying to build a star, but you got one over here ready. Isn't that odd? It's one of the most curious things I've ever seen, and it's getting more and more unusual by the day. This man's company is creating its next top star against a mountain of opposition. That's you. That's the fans, man. You guys are the ones. And I've heard you, I've debated you, I've talked to you. We've had conversations over the past week or so since this happened. And since way before, when we all pretty much had the notion that Roman was going to be the next top guy. Okay? A mountain of opposition, while the star that basically created himself will not be used in that role at all. There's your controversy. That's what it all comes down to. They're trying to create Roman. Okay? Daniel created himself. All right? And he's being pushed to the side. You know what kills me is that at the end of, and I know I keep talking about Roman, this podcast is about Daniel, okay? But I can't help but talk about, the Samoan Superman here. All right. What kills me is that Roman is at the end of the Royal Rumble and he's, raising his arms to the WrestleMania sign. He's pointing to it. The fireworks are going off. Bam, pow. You know what I'm saying? And it should have been the crowning achievement of his career. It should have been, oh my God, here we are. I've made it. I'm going to be in the main event of WrestleMania 31. I'm going to face Brock Lesnar. I'm going to kick out of 3 F5s. Yes, I've said that on podcasts before. I'm on the record. Take it to the bank. He will kick out of 3 F5s. He'll be your new WWE World Heavyweight Champion. And the crowd did not care. They didn't care at all. Okay? They just didn't care. Batista, all right, in 2014, the same exact thing. He pointed the sign. He flexed. No one cared. Okay? Now, this thing could have went south really quickly if Roman would have been immature about it as Batista was just a year ago. And think about this, folks. What could have happened had this gone down this way? 2014 Royal Rumble, Batista goes over. Crowd hates him. Want to know why? Because Daniel didn't show up in the Rumble. Again, Daniel Bryan rears his bearded head. Okay, Batista on his way up the ramp after the program's gone off the air is flipping off fans and cursing them. Okay, giving them the heave ho, get out of my face kind of thing. You know what I mean? I'm the man and you're not. Holy crap! What do you think? You're supposed to be babyface Dave. Dave, what's up? Okay, but he freaked out because he was ticked off, and I mean you can't blame the guy for being ticked off. He got in there and did what he did, and that's the response he gets. But instead of being a humble winner, he chose to go the other path. They had to turn him heel. They didn't have a choice. Roman was the humble winner. Okay, he knew fans didn't want him. He knew fans wanted Daniel. Okay, is it Roman's fault that he went over? Did he come to Vince and say, "You put me over, I quit, and I'm taking everybody with me"? No, of course not. This was WWE's plan from day one. It was not a plan from day one to have Daniel main event WrestleMania 31. We all knew that, right? Yes. Now, had things gone differently, and Daniel maybe held on to the championship and never been injured, we could be looking at a heel Daniel Bryan defending against Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 31. Imagine the complications or the implications of that. And complications of that also, but imagine everything that would have went along with it. That we're talking about the future, the next generation of this company. Not Brock Lesnar, not John Cena, not Randy Orton, but the immediate present and the future of the company. That would have been a huge match for WWE. To establish, here's where we're going, okay? John, we love you. Thanks for everything you've done. We got to start moving ahead, man. That would have been huge. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. As we know, Daniel got injured, and it just destroyed everything for him in terms of the WWE Championship run that never was. And are we looking at the possibility of Daniel never touching the gold belt again? Is that possible? That Daniel, with as much as he can do in the ring, as entertaining as he is, as much as he's over, as much as he's done in his career to get to that point, as well as he's done since he's been there, the road that he had to WrestleMania 30 and everything in between and after, that's the only time, the last time he'll touch the belt for real. That's it. The championship run that never was. Is that what we're talking about with Daniel Bryan? Because if so, that's a shame, okay? I'm on the record. It's a shame if that happens, okay? Daniel needs that belt again. You're going to build everything to Roman now. And you know what? Go with God, whatever it is you want to do, I guess. It's fine. But Roman has a tough road to hoe in front of him. Okay, and I hope that man he's up to the challenge. I think he is, but I hope he realizes and understands what's ahead of him. Okay, now he doesn't need some silly little pro wrestling writer / podcaster / your everything because you love me. He doesn't. Sorry, he doesn't need someone like me giving him the thumbs up or thumbs down. Okay, again, when you work for the biggest pro wrestling company on the planet, you don't really need anyone patting you on the back or giving you the middle finger, okay? You just sort of do your thing, all right? And because you know that you're in the prime spot, you're heading that direction, okay? But we all know that's not going to happen. So, but he's heading there. He doesn't need me to tell him yay or nay, okay? But just from a fan's perspective, from a writer's perspective, from someone who's trying to remain unbiased here, okay, for or against Roman, he's got a tough road to hoe. He's got a world of challenges ahead of him, okay? You know what the easy answer is? Turn him heel. You know what the easy answer for Daniel is? Turn him heel. You turn Daniel heel at this point, you'll kill him, okay? You turn Roman heel at this point, there's time and room to work it out, okay? Not so for Daniel. I don't see that for Daniel at all. That's just me talking, okay? So where do we end up here? What's the final analysis of this whole thing? To me, it all comes back to the core point. The thesis of the column, of the podcast, of everything we've been talking about here since we started, since you pushed the play button, everything we've been talking about here today has been about WWE has this main event star. He's ready to go. Again, battle tested, proved himself, done everything right. He's in a great spot. Okay, he's ready to go. But instead of utilizing him, they're going to go attempt to create a star who they've already put in a bad spot. He's behind the 8 ball. He's behind. Okay, because they put him there. All right, they threw the cart way in front of the horse with Roman Reigns. Yes, love him or hate him. Yes, can we all agree on that? That's the company that did that. Okay, but yet they're going to go work with him and try to get him over and do everything in their power, vignettes and promos and backstage spots and interviews in the ring and behind the scenes with Roman. Let's look at his family. Let's talk to The Rock. Let's Rikishi. Let's the Usos. Let's put him in triple threat tag team matches. It's a 3-way dances and it's all. Let's remind everyone about his family and much respect to the family. Not saying anything, contrary to what they accomplished or anything like that. But this is what you're going to see in the next couple of months leading up to WrestleMania. They're going to do everything in their power to get Roman over. And that's great. Congratulations. More power to him. And good luck with that. But Daniel Bryan is ready right now. That's what people are having a hard time with. Now, is that great or bad? Good, bad, positive, negative, whatever. That's up for you to decide. I'm just the guy on the phone talking to you right now, man. Who am I? Okay, I'm the guy that you read his stuff all the time. Hopefully, shameless self-promoter. That's me. Okay, but who am I? It's your decision if it's good or bad, dude. Yours. You're the fans. Okay, you're the ones paying out your hard-earned money to go see the shows live, to buy the merch, to watch every week, to be absorbed into the product, and to enjoy it, loathe it, or hate it, or just keep watching because you can't get enough of it. It's your call. It's your call. Are they doing the right thing? Is it worth all the time and effort it's going to take to get Roman over? Or are we looking at John Cena Part 2, where they're still trying to convince you that John is such a good guy? God, you got to love John, guys. Oh, please love him. Please, we're begging you. Because that's what's going to happen with Roman. Prepare yourself for it, folks. It's coming. The next 2 months, you're going to be just beaten down with it. Just driven to the ground, the point that Roman is so awesome. You got to love him. And you're going to boo him. You're not going to give him a chance. And it's not his fault. Is that fair? Absolutely not. Is that the way life goes? You better believe it, man. Especially life as a WWE wrestling fan. That's how it is. And again, Daniel Bryan sitting there waiting, all ready to go. Nothing's going to be done for him. Okay? Think about this for a second before we wrap it up here. Think about this, okay? Because this is a big deal. This is good stuff. Pay attention now. I didn't write this just for myself to read. I didn't record this just for myself to listen to. Please pay attention. Here we are. Here we go. Are you okay? Here it is. Think about this. The guy that main evented WrestleMania, the man that saw his dreams come true on the worldwide stage by winning the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Okay, one of the biggest moments for his career, one of the biggest moments that fans have ever witnessed. But why? Because they had a hand in making it happen. That's not a work, dude. They had a hand in making it happen, okay? One of the biggest moments that they've ever seen as fans, that he's ever seen, and maybe will ever see in his entire career, is going to be followed up this year by Bryan being in the potential first match of the night. Did you hear all of that? If you didn't, hit your little back button and listen again, man. Main event to the first match the next year. Is that a fall from grace? Does he deserve that? Okay, does Bryan deserve that? He won't even be semi-main event. Now, again, please don't misunderstand and forget what I'm trying to say here, folks. Depending on when you're listening to this podcast, Triple H could have a massive announcement on Monday Night Raw that's going to air on February 2nd that could change everything. All this stuff on the dirt sheets that you're reading could just be nonsense, just propaganda, just a work that the company's throwing out to try to mislead you, okay? Don't put it past them, okay? They say they don't care what's online. They care. It's the truth, all right? Don't buy into that. Maybe there's a huge announcement coming up that's going to change everything, and Daniel be inserted into the main event, all right? Anything's possible. Again, never say never. But folks, if it doesn't happen, have we seen Bryan's one and only championship run that was never realized? And how does a man go from winning it all, with the top prize in the, think about this, the top prize in the business, the entire industry, the very next year, 12 months later, okay, he's in the first match. Is that something? That's amazing. I can't even get my head around it, man. It's amazing stuff. I mean, it's not going to end, okay? It's not going to end until there's a resolution to the Daniel Bryan debacle, until someone inside that company says, hey, we need to do right by this guy. Did he have a great moment? Yes, he did. Did he deserve it? Yes, he did. Was it his fault he got injured? Absolutely not. He got injured doing what you paid him to do in the first place, okay? Which is entertain the fans, all right? He broke his neck. I mean, broke himself in half, literally, to get the job done, okay? And he did that, and now he deserves another chance. He deserves another time in the sun, man. He shouldn't be done yet, okay? And until someone comes to that realization, this subject will not die, okay? It's going to be around for a long time to come. I think it'll happen for him eventually. I just don't know what the timetable is or how long we're talking, okay? So what do you think? At the end of the day, what's your opinion? Because I've been yelling at you for like an hour now, getting all upset and trying to make you laugh and stuff, and telling you what I think. What do you think? Your opinion is the one that counts the most. You got some feedback for me? Email me, tomclarkbr@yahoo.com. Okay? Follow me on Twitter @tomclarkbr. Don't follow me on Facebook, because Facebook is a boring place full of ridiculous people who push their own political agenda and spiritual beliefs on you 24/7. There's my soapbox moment of the podcast. You're welcome. Besides, I'm pretty boring there. Okay, so I'm loads of fun on Twitter. Trust me, you'll find out. Listen, folks, I do appreciate you taking the time to download and subscribe. And if you haven't done that yet, please do so right now. I'm a starving writer. A man's got to eat. I'm just saying. So help keep hope alive is what I'm trying to say here, folks. And remember to vote Tom in 2016, because every vote counts, people. That's it for the program, guys. Thanks again for tuning in. And we will see you next time. Don't be late for Tom Clark's main event.